So in this session, which is session number 1, I had absolutely no plan. I thought I would start with bronze by Liquidex and a stencil. And here you can see that the bronze, just like the other metallics, is a transparent color, as opposed to other colors which can be semi-transparent or opaque. So I have placed the stencil on top of the jelly plate, and I took a well-used piece of tissue paper, and now I'm pressing it into the paint, taking off the paint between the excess paint there. So I pulled it off, and now you can see that the effect. I am now grabbing the folk art blue pearlescent paint and my absolute favorite, which is green gold by Golden. So I'm applying short brush strokes as opposed to using the large brayer and rolling from edge to edge, and that's just my style. I like it when it's grungy. I'm waiting till it dries, checking if the paint sticks to my fingers. And now I am using a piece of cardboard to add some texture. And now I walked away and I am looking for a stamp. So this is a handmade stamp. And again, taking the excess off with tissue paper. And what I'm doing now is I'm trying to decide what color to use, and I opted for Parchment by Liquidex, which is a lovely color. I am using the roller, the brayer, up and down. Not up and down, always in one direction. Instead of going left and right, up and down. Now I'm pressing hard. Some people use a tool called Broaden. I prefer my hands. And now I'm ready to look at it from the other side. I flip it over again, and once again I'm checking with my hands if it's dry. I'm looking and I see lots of grunge, and that means that the paint is not dry yet. Looks like I have applied too much of the parchment color, and now I see a spot which didn't stick. So what I do in this case, I grab the gel medium, put a dab on it, and put it right back, and wait till it dries. I'm checking. I'm using the copy paper, and you can see it's buckling, warping at the bottom of the jelly plate. So I pulled it off, and it's nothing to write home about. So I'm trying to decide what will be my next step. At this point, it could be a good background paper for collage. I took off that little piece where the gel medium was applied. It's still wet. And I have some grunge left on the plate, and I decided to go with it. At this point I could clean the plate, but I don't mind grunge. I'm going through my collection of dried botanicals. You can use either fresh ones or dried ones. The dried ones have the advantage that they are flat, so if you are printing on thin paper like copy paper, it's a better option. However, as you will see, they will start crumbling and I will be left with some pieces on the gel plate. Now I'm applying quinacridone magenta and deep violet by Liquitex. And I'm placing the dried botanicals on top of that. And now I take my print and placing it on top of the botanicals, and again pressing good to have a nice outline around the plants. You see, there's the dried stuff crumbling, and some of it stayed on the plate as well. No big deal. So now I'm trying to decide, and I already know that these two colors, this deep violet and quinacridone magenta, they go very well with the permanent lemon yellow by Amsterdam. So that's what I will be using along with the green gold. But before I go to it, I took a baby wipe and I'm taking off some of the paint which is still wet. You can do it only when it's still wet. And I am wiping off some of the color, bringing out more grunge. And you can see it's making the print more interesting, and you can see I'm smearing it on the white edge. But I don't mind because I will trim it anyway. So that was print number 1. Now we have print number 2. I grabbed the hair dryer. It has to be set on the lowest setting possible, and you have to use it, place it at least 12-inch above the jelly plate in order not to damage it by heat. So here I'm applying the yellow color, another of my favorites. It goes very well with the green gold and the quinacridone magenta, very springy, feminine, light filled, again short brush strokes. Here I regret I didn't apply more green. You will see it later. I have applied a stencil and took off some, and the brayer took off some of the plain paint again. And now I'm printing on sheet music. Rubbing good, including the edges where the paint tends to accumulate. And now, ta-da! Time to take a quick look. Flip it back over and waiting till it dries. So with my hands I can feel if the paint is dry. If it feels cold, it means the paint is still wet. And I'm pulling it off. It's not completely dry, but I'm pulling it off because I like the effect. So this is print number 2, and I am left with some paint leftovers on the plate, and I decided to play with it as opposed to cleaning up the plate, because this is a session number 1 and I want you to show all kind of stuff. So here I'm doing the ombre, where you start with one color, add the other one. You could do more colors, taking off some of the paint with this bubble wrap, which is great. It makes great effects, never disappoints. I'm letting it dry a little bit, grabbing another stencil again. Where the roller touches the jelly plate, it will pick up some of the paint. Adding little sun. Again, sheet music. Flipping it over. Peekaboo. At this point, I walked away outside and picked up some fresh botanicals. So this was a 50-minute video, which I have cut down significantly, because there is a time when you have to wait till the paint dries. Okay, what do we have here? Prussian blue by Amsterdam, and once again the lemon yellow by Amsterdam. This is gonna be lovely grunge, going crazy. This is all about having fun and playing. Again, the more you press along the botanical, the better outline you get. Ooh la la. Again, taking off some of the excess paint, because we will be adding more layers. So while it's drying a little bit, I'm trying to decide what will be next move and cleaning my brayer. Adding pearlescent white. I have put a little bit too much on it. It wasn't my intention. So I will try to take off some of it off with another handmade stamp. I'm now trying to decide what color will be the final color. And I decided to go with Gold by Arteza. And I will use the cardstock. Cardstock is heavier paper, and when you have several layers of paint on the plate, it's better to go with something sturdier. Again, trying not to go up and down and up and down, going in one direction only. With practice, you will find out how much paint you need to add. has to be the right amount. And what you are doing actually with the final layer of paint, you are saturating the layers that are underneath, and so the final layer will pick up all the layer underneath. So if you do something like that, it's good to work with transparent colors. Okay, that's the cardstock paper. It's fairly inexpensive. My hands were wet, so I used a piece of paper. While rubbing. And again, let's take a quick look. Yeah. Nothing to write home about. This one will need some additional work as well. But at this point, I just wanted to finish the video because it was a 15-minute long at this point. So I decided to call it today.